Okay, we're going to learn about variables and some custom blocks today. And I have the game that we already made where if you click the green flag, Scratch can move around with the arrow keys, but when he bumps into something black, he stops. And so there's nothing special about the code or different about the code yet. So let's say you wanted to keep track of how many times Scratch runs into something that's black. I don't know why you want to do that, but maybe a teacher is making you do that. So the best way to do that is to make a new variable. Let's call it score. And these two checkboxes, when you make a variable, if you want all of the different sprites to be able to access it and change it and see what's stored in it, you would click for all sprites. If you just want the current sprite that you're on to be able to change it or access it, you would click for this sprite only. Later in the year, we'll talk about why this option might be good, but for now, let's just make things easier and click for all sprites. So when you click the green flag, the score should be set to 0 because you haven't run into anything yet. And so a way that you can do that is with the set my variable. There's a drop-down box. You can click the variable we just created to select it, and if I change that to 100 and I click the block, you'll see that it sets the score to 100. By the way, I'm not sure I showed you this in class yet, but if you just have a block out here and it's not connected to anything and you click it, it demonstrates what it does. You don't have to have it connected to things to see what it does. You can just click it and it will do its job for you. So if I go back to 0 and then click it, it should change the score back to 0. So I want that to happen every time the green flag is clicked, so I'll put it right there. But then if you run into something black, I want the score to go up by 1. So we currently don't have anything in the code that tests to see, did you touch something black? We have something that tests to see, are you not touching something that's black? So this would be a convenient place to put something that changes the value of score, except that this logical test that occurs is not testing to see if Scratch is touching black. It's testing to see if Scratch is not touching black. So I need to do something else before I can start increasing the value of score. So something I don't know if I've showed you yet is that you can have another when green flag clicked block. You can have more than one. And when the green flag is clicked, both sets of blocks start running at the same time. So what I can do over here is I want to know when Scratch touches something black. And really remember that we're on the box, and Scratch is just kind of following the box. So really what I'm doing is testing to see when does the box touch something black. So you would go to Sensing. If you want to know something about what's going on, you go to Sensing and Touching Color. I know I'm going to use that, and I know I want it to, if you click the color picker and click black, I need to surround this with some blocks that makes it do what I want it to do. So if this block is touching something black, then I want to increase the score by 1. The way that I said that should give you a tip that you need an if-then block. If touching black, and remember that this refers to the current sprite. So if the current sprite, the box, is touching something black, then do the following. And if I go to variables, I can go to change my variable by 1. And if I click the green flag and I run into something, nothing happens. So what's going on? This if statement runs one time right after you click the green flag. So it's not continuously checking. Over here, we got the code to continuously check to see if I was pressing an arrow key by using a loop forever block. We can do that again over here if we do loop forever and surround everything by that. And then click run. Now, if we run into something, it still doesn't do anything. Now that one actually surprised me. The first time it didn't surprise me. So let's think about what's happening. Oh, I see. See, this drop-down box got me. I was trying to increase my variable, not score. So score is what I meant to increase. So let's try again. If I click the green flag, now it's taken off. This is what I expected it to do. If I'm not touching anything black, it's stuck on one number, and then when I'm touching something black, it goes crazy. That's not really what I intended. I kind of intended for it to just go up by one for this. Like, I'm not moving into anything else that's black. I didn't really want it to keep increasing, but remember that computers only do exactly what you tell them to do. They're not smart. They don't know that this is not what I intended it to do. So there are a couple of approaches you could take to try to fix this. You could put in a delay, but the delay is not perfect because what if someone leaves the sprite in contact with something black for longer, or a wait? I keep calling it a delay. It's a wait. If I put a wait in there for 2 seconds, now it will only ever increase every 2 seconds, but it still does increase. It just takes a little longer. So if I meant for this one contact to only ever increase the score by 1, then I've got to do something else. And that something else is the wait until block, which you can find under control. Instead of wait a certain number of seconds, you can wait until, and then we have this hexagon shape, which, remember, anything that fits in a hexagon shape is always going to return true or false. It's a Boolean block. So I can wait until maybe another arrow key is pressed so that Scratch starts moving around again. So instead of that, I'm going to wait until, let's say, not touching key. Yeah, key. The problem now is there's a bunch of different directions I could move. So one solution is I could click any, and that kind of fixes it, although it allows the user to press literally any key on the keyboard. So if I click run and I run into something black, I'm pressing the right arrow key right now, and because I'm pressing a button, the loop continues and it checks to see if I'm touching something black. So that's not perfect. It's better than it was a while ago. And so we'll just live with that, since the point of this was to focus on variables. Let's see what else you can do with variables. If you go to the variables tab, we already saw what set can do. That allows you to just change the value to something specific. And I could use that over here, but I intentionally wanted it to go up by 1 each time. Change, you've seen what that does. This can be other things, though. It doesn't have to be 1. It can be -1. And now if I click run and I run, it goes negative. It could be I could count by 100, and now when I run into something, the score just really goes off the chain. If I change it by I'm sure there's a largest number I could type in. Let's see what can it do. It starts doing scientific notation. See that? 5, and the little e means times 10 to the, and this is 26. So that's a 5 with 26 zeros after it. See how high it'll go. 27. Okay, it's pretty impressive. Right, now I'm just getting off track, but I want to see what it can do. I'm just holding the 9 key now. Okay, stop, green. Whoa, to the 85, to the 86. So that's a 2 with 86 zeros after it. Scratch is pretty impressive. In order to store that large of a number in a lot of programming language, you would have to go to great lengths, and you would have to look up a lot of things to figure out how to store that much data. We'll talk about this later, but it's impressive to me that Scratch can do that. All right, back to variables. You can show and hide variable. Oh, I didn't show you this. The little checkbox. If you click the checkbox, it displays the variable's value on the screen. If you want to control that with code, you can click show. You can put show right there, and let's say I don't know, something hides it. Every time a right arrow key is pressed, the variable is hidden, and when you click the green arrow, the variable is shown. Change that to score. So just to show you how that works, right now you can see the score. If I click the right arrow, oh, I'm not moving. Okay, hold on. All right, click the right arrow, it disappears because that's where I put hide score. Now to get it to come back, I can click the green flag and it will show variable. So you can control whether or not the variable value is shown on the screen if you want to with these blocks. And the point of using variables is to be able to store information somewhere in a container, and then later you can retrieve that information, or you can alter that information in some way. And you basically can't do any programming without using variables. Any programming worth doing is going to use variables. We will use them for the rest of the year, and every programming language has them.